Okay, the next step in the process is to create a report. A report is just like it sounds. It's a visual representation of either data that's either in tables or queries. When we run the query, we see that we get our data on the screen that we need. A report is an opportunity to make the data a little bit more easy to read, kind of in a printable format for the user. So I'm going to click on Create, and I'm going to go to Report Wizard, and I'm going to select all the fields in the query, and I'm just going to accept all the default settings. I'll name it Payroll Report, and then I'm going to finish. And we get the same result that we had before. Ideally, we would have liked to have done some formatting of the total pay to limit it to only 2 decimals, but we're not going to really worry about that for now. But notice that I name my fields without spaces: employee ID, last name, and first name. And there's a reason for that. Typically, you do that when you give fields names, but it doesn't look so great on a report. And payroll report is all jammed together as well. So I'm going to go into the design view, and I'm going to improve the layout of this slightly. So I'm going to go right click on the report and go into design view. And I'm just going to add a space between the word payroll and report. And in the header, I'm also going to add a space. Notice where it says page header, there are these headings that are in with a little dotted background. I can modify those to make the headings a little bit easier to read. I can also resize the headings. For total pay, we don't really need that much space, so I'm going to shrink that down a little bit. I'll also shrink it down to the same size below. Where it says detail there in white, these names cannot be modified. So I need to leave that as employee ID, last name, first name, and total pay with no spaces in them. But I can click on them and go to Home and do some centering or change the font size. I think I'm going to leave the font size as is, but I'm going to center them. So I'm going to select each field and center so that the result is centered underneath the heading. And I'll do the same thing with each heading. I'm just selecting the field, going to Home, and selecting the center option for each heading in the page header. All right, so we've done some minimal formatting. So let's just close out of this screen, or double click on the payroll report now to open it. And we've got a little error there because this is getting truncated. So I'm going to have to make this a little bit wider. If you have a different entry that doesn't result in so many decimals, you might not get that. But I'm going to go back into the design view and make this a little bit wider again so we get our whole result. Man, it's still getting truncated. But I'm not going to worry about that. So at this point, I'm just going to close and save.